right, we're live. Hi. Hello. Hello, everybody. My name is Nick, aka Fowler. Welcome to my studio. Today, we will be listening to some music. I will be berating it brutally. Just joking. We'll try to find some good things, some things that could potentially be better, and just hang out and get nerdy. So, without further ado, if you want to put it in, if you want to put your songs in for next week, right there. It's kind of weird where I'm pointing, but anyway, this is my Discord server. That's where you do it. That's where you submit it. So, let's move over to FL Studio. And normally, we have a Jacob track, Hyrie Think. We usually have him at the end of the stream for whatever reason. I don't ever plan it. That's just how it goes. So today, it just happened to be at the top. That's cool. Let's have a listen and see what he's done for us today. I'm going to make sure real quick that I don't have any mastering effects on. That all appears to be off. That's great. Let's go. First track of the day is called Kill Your Vanity with Boy Ponder. I thought that said Boy Pounder. Jesus Christ.
Break. I need some time off the case. My breathing is off in the space. My feelings in some kind of way. Shit, man, get out my way. Everything falling in place. Wait, nah, I'm out of phase. Do what I do, what I gotta get in and out of this place. Don't look at my face, my eyes about to race. I'm standing and sweating like I'm about to play. You mean I got a problem? Talking myself like I got one. Too nice to be balling this off. I know I'll be cool in the morning. I put it down, they're trying to push my fate. If they get around, I push that away. I got no time to deal with that today. They look at me, I tell them it's a game. My stay drifting and my eyes dilate. This light switch broke in a dark place. Hear no sounds, my thoughts ask away. How you gonna act like everything okay?
And alone, I could live on what I said yesterday. I know it's so easy to say, stay on what I said yesterday.
Yeah, that was dope. My thoughts are I have a couple thoughts. One is that the vocals don't come through enough. Like, I couldn't understand basically any of the words at all. And then the next thought is kind of what Net Felix just said. It's almost like two different songs. Like, yes, I get, I like there is similarities,
I'm out of face. You can do what I do, what I do, what I gotta get it.
but maybe all these parts could work together if the arrangement was different. You know, maybe if it went back to that vocal part. It just right now it kind of feels like there's like this song and then there's this other song. And yes, they're quite related in terms of like the key and the, you know, what's happening and stuff. But it feels very segregated. Like we have this like initial kind of vocal kind of halftime thing. I think halftime.
Acting myself like I got one. Some nights to be bold.
No, not halftime. Never mind.
Yeah, I stay drifting on my eyes dilate. This light switch broken, a dark place.
Like I would dial back the overall volume just to let the vocals through or something. And then arrange it in a way that gives us this like this part is dope. And maybe you could use that as like the chorus or the drop section, and then you're going back and forth between maybe something that's a little less dialed up with the vocals in it, and you can build an arrangement that makes it a little bit more sense, at least to me. Now, maybe this is an amazing arrangement for what you were aiming for. Maybe it's the style of music. I'm not sure, but it just kind of felt like two different ideas. And the vocals really need to come through cleaner, I think, regardless of what the genre is. Like the mix and master during this section, I think that's kind of it's I don't have any issues with it. It's kind of par for the course for that style of music. But yeah, there's no clear flow to the arrangement of the track. There's no like, okay, here's the vocal part, it's building up, now we get this dun, 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 like the chorus thing, and then it goes back to the vocal thing, and it builds back up and hits the chorus again. I think you have a lot of really great elements here. If the vocals cut through better and the arrangement ebbed and flowed a little bit more over a, you know, like a storyline or like an arc kind of thing, I think that's going to be the winner. I think you have lots of really amazing parts that you could turn into a song here. But to me, it feels a little too scatterbrained or like a little too like squirrel, you know, like here's a lot of cool stuff. I think you need to go back and arrange it in a way that makes a bit more sense in a more typical kind of musical idea. Or tell me to go fuck myself and keep it as is, because maybe that's the style of music. I think I would enjoy it a lot better if I felt like I earned like it would make more sense in the context of the track if you delivered some vocal stuff that we could hear and understand, and then you hit us with the melodic kind of drop section, then you went back and delivered more verse ideas or like extrapolated on the idea of the song. But overall, super unique, very interesting and cool sounding. I would just like the arrangement to be a little bit more predictable almost, or a little bit more typical, and always make sure that the vocals are as clear as you can get them, even if that requires dialing back the overall loudness. I think that it's worth it because I want to be able to understand what you're saying. It sounds great. The vocal delivery sounds great. I just can't really understand the words because they're in the mix so much.
I got no time to deal with that today. They look at me, I tell them it's a game. I stay drifting on my eyes dilate. This light switch broken, a dark place. Hear no sounds, my thoughts ask away. How you gonna?
Like I think if you made the arrangement a little bit more typical, then you could kind of justify pulling out some of those elements during the verse parts, because we know that we're going to get the full like fuck you moment with the chorus or the drop. But now you're able to strip it back to just like a kick and a clap and like that dirty sub, and you can get rid of some of the elements that are stepping on the vocals feet. Stepping on the vocals feet. That's probably not the best way of saying that. Anyway, thanks, Jacob. This is dope as always. And I thank you once again, even though I just thanked you, but thank you once again. Thank you. All right, moving on. We got Ice Kayab, spacey nebulaic thing. Oh, that word. Damn, we went from the loudest thing in the world to something that's not loud at all. Let's have a listen. Okay, this is very eerie, and I get the name now, but I think it's a little too spicy. Like some of these notes are just, I'm just like, I don't get it. It doesn't make a lot of musical sense. Just a few of the notes here and there, do 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 do, and then I'm thinking, I'm hearing this chord that I'm like sitting in, but like all of a sudden this one note just doesn't quite fit in with the chord. I don't know. It's a bit spicy for my tastes. It almost sounds a bit chromatic at times because there's the delay happening. So you're rehashing these notes. So you might hit a spicy note and then you hit another spicy note. And because they're delaying over top of each other, they're like even more spicy because we're hearing them a bunch of times on top of other spicy notes, which is making them spicy in a different kind of way. You know, it's almost like if you eat say you ate like a really spicy meal, then you threw it up and swallowed it, threw it up and swallowed it. You would be experiencing the spice over and over again, and that's kind of what's happening with the delayed out notes in a very strangely analogous way. I mean, like, I like the vibe of this track. I like how it you know, it is very spacey. It's very, very, very quiet. I mean, I just normalized it, which did nothing to the dynamic range. So I don't know if maybe when you rendered it, it was not quite loud or like you had something turned down by accident. But right off the bat, we can make it louder without affecting the sound quality whatsoever. There's no compression happening. I'm just normalizing it. Anyway, with that out of the way, I don't know. I just, for me, if you enjoy that super spicy note action, then you go, girl. But for me, the notes are a bit too spicy here and there. I like the overall vibe. I like the percussion use. There's just some of those notes that I just can't sink my teeth into. Like there's moments like right here. That whole section that I just played, I had nothing wrong. I had no problems with any of the notes that just happened. But now let's listen to the next part. Okay, that's still good. It's getting a little spicy. The ding. And then burn. I don't know. It's just very spicy. I'm sorry if that's not very useful feedback, but that's all I got for you. I like the vibe. It's too spicy for me. And figure out how to get stuff, you know, a bit louder or at least make use of all of the headroom that is available to you. You know, there's you've got a solid like 10 dB of headroom here that you could just turn the master up without doing any compression and you boom, free real estate. Okay, cool. Thank you for sending. Moving on, we got Coder B5. Existentia. Okay. Okay. I don't know if this is a remix. Let's have a listen. Okay, before we go on, I think this is a great opportunity to talk about this. Your kick drum is so big and kind of short and low frequency that I had to do some nasty shit here because you have you do have a sub bass playing the fundamental note, right? But it's so low compared to the size of that kick drum that it's getting lost in the mix. So what I did was I just really limited the dynamic range of the bottom end, and then I bumped it up. Because I feel like that kick, the kick pokes through in a really thick way. It's kind of weird. It's almost like so low frequency that it's not an audible tone, but it's like a thump. And it's just too loud. So I think what I had to do here, you wouldn't have to do. Like, you shouldn't do it this way. What you should do is bring the kick drum down, and then that way everything else can go up, including the sub bass. Because this type of track has a lot of lush stuff happening in the top end and the mid range and stuff, but it has to have that solid whatever the note is that's playing on the bass. That's like what's providing the foundation, and it's not really there in this mix. It's being masked by the fact that your kick drum is so punchy that I can't bring the limiter threshold down far enough to get the sub up. I hope that makes sense. See, like, if you just listen to the bottom end, mostly what we're hearing is just thump, thump, thump. And I want to hear thump, 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 thump. I want to hear the sub bass in between the thumps, and I'm not currently, without having to do some sacrilegious stuff to the master. All right, let's move on and listen to this part. And then in the chord progression, I'm not a huge fan of the fourth chord, to be honest. That one, I don't know. I'm not. Okay, this is and you know, this is just a taste thing, but so you're playing D. Okay, so it's D, F, then okay. So this is the thing. I think it would be better to go D, F, C, B. Sorry, A sharp, A sharp. To me, that's a better chord progression. I think. What's your last chord? Okay, you're going up to the E. Yeah, you're going. But I think it's a little bit more of a typical chord progression, but I don't know. I think it resolves a little bit nicer. besides that, it's really cool. The mashup is interesting. I don't quite get it. Like, maybe if I listen to the words, it makes a bit more sense in terms of like the whatchamacallit, the concept or the conceptual side of things. But I do really like the groove of it. It's easy to kind of get lost in it, but it would be even more easy to get lost in it if you had a more solid bottom end with that sub bass coming through and sustaining nice and powerfully, and then having the kick kind of providing the rhythm, but not stepping on top of everything else. And that's it. I think it's really cool, and I appreciate you throwing in some Fowler references. And I also agree with Net Felix. I almost always think it's better to make something an original unless you have like some really cool, interesting take on a track and you want to remix it. But normally I'm like, well, might be better as an original. I don't know. Anyway, thanks for saying. That was very cool, very trancy. All right, next up we got Loud remix Slow Down. I don't know what's the artist and what's the title, or I don't know. Let's listen. Okay, these vocals are badass already, but they need to be louder. Like put it in this needs to be right in my face. It's like you're yelling in another room. I want you to be yelling in this room, not in like the next room over, you know? This is super cool. Really unique. I think on the production side of things, one thing I'm noticing is that everything feels wide. Like everything is kind of spread out. If I really listen and focus to the center channel, I'm not like hearing a lot sitting there, and that you're giving up a lot of real estate that you could use in the mix if you're not using the center and the width. Obviously making stuff wide is exciting and it sounds interesting when you put headphones on and shit, and it's an important part of the stereo feel, but the center is also an important part. I feel like it's maybe a little bit neglected in this so far. I also think this track could use a healthy dose of compression on a lot of stuff. There's a lot of dynamic range, which if this is going hard, and the attitude behind the vocals and you know, like the just the overall attitude of the track is like, then I think the production should kind of match that. So somewhere between this and the High Rethink track, you know, like I could do like a real quick, we could see what we can get out of it in terms of dynamics just with the master, but I think you got to do some stuff in the mix too. Also, I can't really tell. Is there side chaining on this? I can't really tell if it's been side chained or if it's not side chained enough. Also, I agree with Doofy. The vocals are fucking dope. Like, this track is dope. I think the mix needs to catch up with the track itself. Like, the song is good. The mix and the production is what needs the love. Okay, so this section I'm not a huge fan of. I don't think it really does anything really useful for the song. I understand like the need for a little reprieve or like a breakdown or something, but I just don't think there's enough to keep my attention, especially for this style of track that's like right in your face with the attitude. You know, maybe if the vocal was going there too and we could just have a moment with like the distorted bass in the vocal. I also just think I don't know if there's really any place in the track for that kind of muffled vocal part. I don't know what it's achieving or what it's supposed to be achieving. But let's keep going.
I wanna get mine. I say it all the time if I could recommend. As you blow up, make a bunch of friends and let 'em in. Day one on my side, I'm on the road now. Tell 'em have a nice life, we ain't gonna slow down.
I also think that some of the elements in the track are a bit too round or like soft for the attitude that's being projected by the vocals. Like that kind of gated thing. I don't know. I don't dislike the sound or I don't dislike what it's doing in the track, but I don't know. Like I kind of feel like I want to hear that dirty bass chugging. Like the track is kind of like a fuck you punk track, you know? Anyway, let's keep going.
Jump round, people banging my sound at the speakers now. Slow down, wish you told me that before I got the room to jump. Jump round, people banging my sound at the speakers now. Slow down, wish you told me that before I got the room to jump.
Yeah, with some better mixing and a little bit more aggressive production, this would be a fucking really strong song. I almost feel like you should work with High Rethink on it. Like you and High Rethink are kind of like, you know, I don't want to do the Barbie, you know, now Kiss thing, but I think that you guys could potentially make something really dope out of this, or just get a little bit more aggressive with the production, with with a little bit of distortion. Don't be afraid to distort things. Yeah, I don't know. I hope some of the random ramblings that I gave you off the top of my head were useful, but I really do like the track, and I think the strongest thing is the vocal, and then the production and mix have to catch up to it. Yeah, okay, cool. Thanks for sending. I think that's all I got. All right, moving on. Let's make sure I've undid all of my master and shit here. Speed running, disabling the master effects. Okay. All right, we got MJ. Bro, I have no name for this. Cool. Okay, already this is just too long. I would kind of take this and I would take this and I would make them into one section that is half as long, right? So that the track kind of gets into it. What the kick doing? Fuck, that's my bad. So this is super chill. I really like it. It's relaxing. I think that a couple things. I think that the pacing is not, even though it's chill, I think the pacing is still not quite fast enough. Like I have to wait too long for new elements to happen. And then the other thing is it's very biased towards the bottom end. So like I know that that's kind of like the chill thing. It's not super bright up in the top end, but back here, I mean, I guess it was just like the rain sound, but I think you need to have some airiness to it. And there's different ways of doing that. You know, I could probably try to like force it into what I'm hearing with an EQ and the mastering effects, but I think it's more about the production. So let me just fuck around a little bit while it's playing. Like, for example, if you listen to just this top band from like 6K up, I'm really only hearing the snare. So I have like done some really bad things to this, but let's compare between back and forth. God, it's clipping. Sorry, hold on. My bad. See how I've tried to bring up like there are elements with like mid-range and high end and stuff there, but they're just really underneath the sub. The sub is just overall very, very loud. So you can hear the compressors doing a lot of work. Like there's a lot of bad stuff happening because of the extreme lengths that I've gone to in this mastering effects to try and, you know, find some top end and bring it out in the mix. You got to go and do that in the mix. And you know, maybe your monitoring situation is such that you don't hear a lot of sub and you might be overcompensating for that. So checking on different systems and referencing, using like spectrum analyzers like this might be a good idea to give you a clearer picture of what's happening. Musically, it's great. It's really nice to listen to. So let's keep listening. Yeah, I mean, you can also just see in the waveform, like this is basically the track is like a sub with a little bit of a song on top of it. But it sounds great. It's just really like you need to take your sub and turn it down and then find some other elements or some way of adding some brightness to the track. And somebody, I think it was Netfelix that said, or no, Doofy. Doofy said subtle shakers might help move it along. Yeah, I think generally speaking, this track could just use more layers of stuff. You know, it's very basic, and you don't want to crowd it. It doesn't need to be a crazy 500 layer EDM banger. But Italian BMT type mix, okay, that makes sense to me, but I don't know why it makes sense to me. Anyway, yeah, I think keep going on it. Turn your sub down, get some more brightness into it, and add some layers, and then you're cooking with some Italian BMT. Thank you for sending. All right, Nat Felix, we got Paradise feedback. I think it's just Paradise. Let me just quickly make sure I'm not fucking it up with any sort of mastering. Okay, let's have a listen. God damn it. When you say this is the one from last week, do you mean like you have updated? Oh, yeah, you must have because it's February 3rd. Okay. All right, this is sounding good. The snare, I don't know what my feedback was last week. I don't remember, but the snare is a bit like too hollow. Like it almost sounds. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the snare there. But yeah, that's really cool. Whatever that was a cool moment. Now the Werner, whatever that like the mid-range pad is very loud in the mix. I think it's a bit too loud in the mix. Like, yeah, that. Fowler feedback from last week. The snare is ass. Please fix it. Fowler feedback from this week. The snare is ass. Please fix it. Yeah, I think this. Let me just try to artificially see what I can make out of this. Okay, so I think that the mid-range thing, like that kind of like the thing that you're chopping up and playing over and over, is too loud in the mix, just generally. And then it's a bit obscure what notes or chords are happening, and I think that is maybe the same feedback that I had last week, now that I'm thinking about it. One thing you could do, and maybe this is the same feedback I gave you last week. I'm sorry if it is. Let me listen for a sec. Maybe you could bring down those beanie, meanie, meanie, whatever those things are, bring them down. I'm like having a hard time humming it because I'm not sure what chord it is. Bring them down in the mix. Open up the sub range a little bit, frequency wise, so we can hear more than just the fundamental like sine wave, and then maybe add in a mid bass, something like a filtered down saw or a square or something that has some harmonics, and so that you can really hear. And I don't think that's going to get in the way of like that complex kind of color based sound. add in a mid bass that's playing along with the sub range, so that we can hear the da na 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 na, whatever the chord progression is or whatever notes the bass is playing. Try adding in a mid bass that plays with the sub bass, and then that will help reinforce what notes or chords the color bass thing is doing. I think that's probably the fix for that, because it sounds dope, like texture-wise, sounds dope, but I'm just having a hard time clearly hearing what the chords or what the notes are. Because see, now that the be-do, that high-end thing comes in, that gives the color bass more context as to what notes are being played. Now we have like a clear tone that we can be like, ah, that is that note, you know? Okay, let's keep going. Okay, what what is that snare? Hold on, that reminds me of something. Okay, this is what it reminds me of. Say, okay, so we have like a bottle, could be a beer bottle, water bottle, right? Well, it would have more water in it. Here, let me tune it up for a sec. Oh, that's almost the right note. Hold on. Okay, if I squeeze it a little bit, it's in key. Boo. Anyway, it sounds like somebody had a bunch of, like a necklace, like a hippie necklace hanging from a bottle, and they went, and that's the snare, was the jingles of the hippie necklace and the... So when you hear the snare, think of that. Anyway, I'm sorry for berating your snare. I love this part though. I love the part. I just hate the snare. Yeah, I mean, okay, so final thoughts on this. Obviously, I don't like the snare that's in that little breakdown section. I think adding that mid bass or somehow making it a bit more clear which notes are being played during the drop is going to really take that to the next level. And then arrangement wise, it's kind of starty stoppy. It could use vocals, but arrangement, I'm not really, it's not like building anticipation, delivering, giving us a break, building back up, delivering. You know, the arrangement could use some work. Like this, like you kind of break down to just a piano thing. Then you break down again here. But then you have this kind of like half-baked part here. I don't know, like to me, maybe the better arrangement would be something more like this. And it could use vocals. It doesn't necessarily need them, but it might be nice because there's lots of room for them, right? Like, to me, this makes more sense. And as a listener, it's kind of guiding. It's like holding my hand a little bit more, as opposed to me like kind of walking through a maze of an arrangement. It just didn't. I'm not quite sure why the certain parts happen the way they do. So maybe investigate the arrangement a little bit more to help control the flow of energy in a more ebb and flow kind of way, as opposed to kind of building us up and but then breaking back down and then building up and then it just, to me, it doesn't flow as well as it could. But all the musical parts of it are really, really strong. I love the breakdowns and I love the drop sections. I just think that the way that they are presented, kind of the logistics of it, if you will, could be better. So yeah, fix that snare, fix this snare, and try putting a mid bass in and see if that drives home the note. Like, literally, you could take the MIDI from the sub bass and copy it to a new bass sound, and then just play with something to give a little bit of grit to the bass. Because we have this kind of smearing effect, melodically smearing. Of the color bass thing. It's very smeary, I guess, is the way I would describe it. So to drive home a more solid like tone that we can latch onto for the note, that would be great. Okay, cool. Thank you for sending. Next up, we got Grim Screech and Anti-Hero Remix. I don't know how to read that, but Grim, you're right in time because I saw you just got here. So let's have a listen. Okay, so the first idea I had here was with that vocal coming in, I was not ready for it, right? One thing you could do is send the vocal into a really long reverb. This is like a classic trick that everybody uses all the time, but it's very useful and subtle but useful. So take the vocal and just take like that little clip of it. Just play it into a reverb, and I think you use FL. So just put an Edison after FL and record the tail of that reverb of her just going like that, and it'll echo out. Like, I guess I could kind of do it with the whole mix. And maybe you're well aware of where I'm going with this, because it's not exactly a well-kept secret, this technique. But if I go like this, and now it's going into a big reverb, I hit record. Okay. Now I got to remember to turn the reverb off. So now I have this reverbed out thing. Now I have your whole mix in there, but whatever, you could do it with just the vocal. Now we take this reversed thing and we use it as a little riser to introduce those frequencies that are there in the vocal. And if we listen to it now. Way better. Like all of a sudden our ears are they're like prepped and lubed up for those vocals, I have this thing where I get older, but just never wiser. Midnights become my afternoons. When my depression works the graveyard shift, all of the people I've ghosted stand there in the room. I should not be left to my own devices. They come with prices and vices. I end up in crisis. I wake up screaming from dreaming. One day I'll watch as you're leaving, 'cause you got tired of my scheming. For the last time, it's me. Hi, I'm the problem, it's me. At tea time, everybody agrees. I'll stare directly at the sun, but never in the mirror. It must be exhausting, always rooting for the anti-hero. Okay, so yeah, besides that, like the mix sounds good. I think you know, I'm glad that it's not loud enough versus too loud, because at least I can fix it. You know, like I can make it louder, but I can't make it less loud. So there definitely could be harder on the mastering. So if I quickly just grab this, and what I typically do is just grab each of these, to, at least this is how my process starts for mastering something. Once I have the mix dialed in good, well, I split it up into roughly sub bass, low mids, high mids, and high end. And then I just go and I let the mix kind of tickle the compressor a little bit. That's my starting point. So I let each of these bands tickle the compressor, and just so I have control over each of it. So I have control over each of the band's dynamics, I mean. Okay. So this is my starting place, is where it's just tickling it. Now, after I get it to that place, I might choose to get a little bit more aggressive on each of these bands as needed, but that's the starting place. Then that makes this limiter have to work a lot less harder. If you turn off the solo, there we go. But yeah, I mean, overall, I would say it needs to be mastered a bit harder, and I would use this trick because I think it sounds a billion times better. Let's do that. Let's A/B it. So here it is. Okay, and then here's it with the reverse. Yeah, it's way better like that. That's a good trick. If you weren't already aware of it, there you go. If you were, then use it. Okay, cool. Yeah, besides that, it's obviously not finished. And regardless of if people like Taylor Swift or find the song annoying, whatever, I'm just here to try and give production feedback. So, well done. Keep going. I hope that helped. Okay, let's move on. We got Fresher, Drop You. Oh, Fresher, otherwise known as Industry. Let's have a listen. Okay, so this is really cool. Very, very cool dark vibe. There was one thing that I wanted to mention somewhere over here. I think it's it's right here. Yeah, this like sidechain thing is a little strange. I feel like this is just a mistake. But anyway, it was, let me play it from a further back here. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, whatever. So my main thoughts, I have two thoughts on this. Two constructive criticisms for you. One is the kick drum transient is insane. Like I don't know, it's maybe a little too transienty, but it's like a weird I don't know. I noticed it in the intro. I was like, okay. I'm torn on it, honestly, because when I hear it, I don't know if I like it or not. Like sometimes I'm like, okay, yeah, that's super transienty, super punchy. But then other times I'm like, man, that's like it's almost in its own space in the mix. Like there's nothing even close to touching it. So it kind of feels like it's like sticking out or something. Like it's such a signature transient. It's like, and yes, funny joke. Haha, Kadia, thank you. I am seeing what's going on in the chat right now. I'm not oblivious. So yeah, I don't know, the transients, I don't know. Like I said, I'm torn. I would potentially audition some different kick drums just to see. Maybe this is the best one. I'm not sure. But to me, it just kind of like, it just cuts through a bit too hard. And then the next thing is, what would that acid bass line sound like if it didn't have the delay on it? Because it kind of it's reminiscent of the Sylenth preset or whatever, the initialization one. I love what it's doing. I love the acid. Or even if maybe allowing it to delay out, but then when it's done doing its thing, cut the delay. Maybe that's what I'm having a hard time with. Yeah, like right here. It's still kind of going off in the distance, but we're focusing on this new call and not the response. So maybe that's all it is. Maybe it's just like turning the delay off hard when the acid is done, so that we have like the delay, the acid delaying on itself, but after it's said its piece, it just pulls out, and then we have the new thing. Yeah, I think that's the way, because that almost, it would still allow it to have that kind of cool cavernous delayed out effect, but it would be controlled and you would cut it off. And I think that's the way. Besides that, I think this is dope. I don't really have any other criticisms. Obviously there's supposed to be that transient there or whatever. That's not okay. Whatever. That's a small mistake. That's easily fixable. I would maybe audition some different transients. Maybe the kick drum can stay, but maybe there's just a layer that could go with it that's a little less microscopic or like surgical. Like it just feels like too like slicing through the mix with the fucking laser accuracy or something. I don't know. Those are my thoughts. I thought it was cool. Thank you for sending. Always a treat. All right, let's move on. Oops, I skipped one. Like too dialed in. I don't know what that means, but my thought was that the transient, to me, okay, let me pull it back up for a sec. Let's just listen. I don't know. Like I said, I'm torn on it. So take it with a grain of salt. I just felt like the transient, it didn't share the frequency space with the rest of the mix very well. It just kind of was like, hey, I'm here, and then it's gone. Anyway, whatever. Try some different kick drums. If that doesn't work, then keep the kick drum in it. Let's have a listen to Adexi Winter Blizzard. That's a great title because today it's minus 43 with the wind chill here, which is very cold. Minus 43 Celsius. Here we go. Okay, industry, you wanted the kick to literally punch me in the balls. I mean, you could have said kick you in the balls. That would have been like a funny joke. But I think what it's doing is stabbing me in the balls right now. I think that's the problem. Yeah, like punch me in the balls for sure, but don't stab me in the balls. Okay, let's move on now finally. Okay, this is like Santa Claus with a machine gun. This is like Santa Claus versus Rambo in the jungle. Okay, this arrangement is kind of confusing me. I was ready to headbang there, but then we're kind of back into a breakdown. So to me, this arrangement is kind of not making the best sense. Like I was ready to fucking pull out the machine gun and start shooting people. Well, not people, but Santa Claus specifically. But then we kind of went back to a Winter Wonderland breakdown. Wow. Okay. So the the side chain I think is a bit extreme. Like I think Kat said that. The side chain is it's extreme. I like it in some moments. Like there's like some not there. Hold on. Like there. That's a cool moment, but when we're kind of rolling through it, I don't know. I think the sidechain going down to 0 and sticking at 0 and then coming back up like a certain amount of time later, it's too much for most of the drop. I think those certain moments, it could be cool as like a novel effect, but I just think the what did Kat say? Instead of the kick being in a relationship with the track, it feels like it just pops in from time to time to say hello. And when it pops by to say hello, the whole track is like, shh, 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 shh. He's here. Shh, shh. Yeah, those are that's one of my thoughts. One of my thoughts are grammar. The sidechain goes a bit too hard for most of the drop. If you want to use it extreme like that, do it in certain parts, certain moments to act as like a fill or an effect. But when we're just kind of rocking out, like don't pull the track away from us so aggressively. The next thought is the arrangement is honestly kind of messy. I was with you all the way through until we got. I was even with you there. I had no issues. No issue. But then I felt like I was getting amped up and then the rug got pulled out from underneath me and I had to wait another almost exactly a full minute. You amped me up here and then I had to wait a full minute to get back into the rock. You know what I mean? That threw me off. I think there's a better way of doing it. Sometimes I literally will take a piece of paper and I will draw out, like I'll have like a graph and the 0 will be very low energy and 10 will be as much as I can give. And I'll draw out the shape of the track and I'll see if it makes sense. Like should I be ramping up and then dropping down and then staying down and then ramping up and then dropping down? Or should I ramp up, hit 10, stay at 10 for a while until the audience needs a break and then pull it down? What's up, DJ Molex? Pull it down, then build it back up. To me, the arrangement is the biggest problem with this right now. It's just a bit too unpredictable. It's hard to follow and hard to know whether I should get amped up and ready to headbang again or if we're going through some more like tension building. So maybe rethink that. And then also the side chain is a bit intense during certain parts of the drop. I would only use that depth of side chain to emphasize certain like moments and fill areas. Like I think it was right here. Yeah. Anyway, those are my thoughts. Thanks for sending. That was cool and heavy, and I'm afraid of Santa Claus. All right, we got Descent into Machination. Okay, I don't know. Core. Cool. Let's have a listen. Okay, so I would say that the pacing is a little bit off here. I feel like you've been building us up for too long and we're kind of getting a little weary of the build up. Everything that's happening is cool. It's just not moving along. I feel like we might get the drop here, and to me, it feels like the drop was imminent from the beginning. So I'm kind of on the edge of my seat for a little too long. My next note is like this sounds great, and then right here. What note is that? Let's find out. I feel like you're gonna have to put that up an octave because I think it dipped down into the inaudible range. Let's see. Yeah, it's a C. I don't know. The sub just disappears. If you listen to how loud the sub is here, you know, it's right in your face. And then here, yeah, it goes CB. Those are pretty low. So I would be cognizant of your sub range disappearing when you play those notes. You might have to layer it with an octave up, or maybe have to get creative with it. You're kind of in a rough spot when you're trying to play a C and a B because it's so low. But anyway, I noticed that the sub bass felt nice and strong, but then those two notes happened and it just felt like there was no sub bass whatsoever. And I think you're probably just a little too low. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, so sound design wise, this is dope. Like, I love all the fucking zings and zangs and everything that's happening. The foundation of the track is not strong enough to support it though. Like the bottom end, you can kind of tell just by the waveform how kind of like sharp and peaky it is. It doesn't have enough solid, reliable sub range to support the awesome sound design and all the crazy shit that's happening on the top end and in the high frequencies and the mid range. It's kind of scooped. You can see it's scooped here, but for whatever reason, it just doesn't feel like the very bottom end has a nice foundation to build the rest of the track on. Okay, so you're doing E and D sharp. Yeah, if I were you, and I'm not, but if I were, I would just mute all of the crazy sound design stuff, get it down to the very basics of kick, snare, and sub bass. Make sure that those elements are working together to build a nice, solid, powerful foundation for the track to live on top of. And once you've got that nailed down, then all of the crazy, cool sound design stuff is just gonna flourish, because now we can sit in the mix and enjoy the zips and the zaps and the zings and the zangs. But sometimes especially when you have complex tracks like this, it's a good idea to take a moment, mute all of the crazy shit, and just go back to the very basics and do a little check and make sure, okay, like maybe if you take away a bunch of the crazy clips and zips and stuff, maybe the sub bass, you're not playing it enough, or maybe it's not loud enough, but you should be able to just rock the kick and the snare and the sub bass and still have a solid foundation to build on. Then once you have that, everything else will profit. Okay, let's keep going. Actually, I'm just gonna go pee right over there real quick in the corner. I will be right back, but I will listen. Yeah, okay, so I heard some really sick stuff while I was peeing over there. That was sick. So to me, the track is very strong in the sound design department, but is lacking in the basics, in the foundation. So that's what I would go back and do. It's also maybe a bit too spastic, like it's kind of like all over the place all of the time, and maybe that also comes back to the basics, you know, like giving us a groove that we can get into. Yes, there are moments where we can get into the groove, but sometimes I find the track is a little too like, whoa, hey, yeah, haha, whoa, whoops, whoa, haha, whoa, check that out, whoa, zim, zang, you know, and that stuff is great used maybe a slightly more sparingly, but it's sick. I mean, this track is definitely sick, and there's lots of cool stuff that keeps me entertained when I listen to it. I do wish that you got to the drop a little faster. It took like a minute and 15 seconds to get to like the actual groove where I could finally get, okay, now yeah, I get it now, you know, where you finally give me something a little bit stable that I can groove to, as opposed to like the zips and zangs. Okay, cool. I hope at least 1% of the fucking words I just said make any sense to you and help in some way. All right, cool. Let's move on. We got Cortio, Calm Think. Right off the bat, you got about 12 dB of headroom. Let's get rid of that and listen. Okay, let's stop it here for a sec. So very cool, very chill. Yep, musically it's good, solid. Except that one right here, I might have a thing to say about this rattly thing that happens. it sounds like it's not in the right key to me. So the pacing is maybe a bit slow. I know that the track is chill, it's supposed to be slow, but even just like, I don't know, bringing in some very subtle shaker sound or something to help move the track along a little bit. He's expressing his feelings with spicy notes. The next thing is somebody mentioned, who said it? The cat said some sub would be nice, and I do agree with that. Let's see what. I don't know what notes you're playing, but like just me playing kind of right notes still kind of felt good. And that's something you could use when you bring in the bass. That's a big moment, right? Maybe you bring in the bass later. It doesn't really look like it based on the waveform, but let's keep listening. That's me playing the keyboard. I'm trying to figure out the notes. Yeah, I mean, this is beautiful, but it needs more elements to keep it moving, and it needs a bottom end. It has no bass part, and that is when you finally give us the bass, like see where the waveform kind of gets a little girthier here? Say you brought in the bass there, then that would be like a moment. We'd be like, ah, the bass, like slipping into a warm bath, you know? That's what this needs, is mostly, I think, a bass line is what it needs. Anyway, those are my thoughts. I think it's a beautiful piece. It needs a bass line. Cool, moving on. We got copy, 3-3. Copy, 3-3. Okay. Okay, already it sounds like somebody's moving a chair. Okay, you said things. It definitely is very listenable. Honestly, it's beautiful. Needs bass. All right, keep going. Let's keep going. What the What was that? That was crazy. Very unconventional, but still very listenable. I don't know if I have any real feedback. It was very cool. I kind of feel like I was taking part in some sort of cult ritual. Like I felt like this would be perfect music if like people were wheeling somebody strapped to a chair into like a sacrificial room or something, you know? Okay, sorry. I was on my phone because I was trying to find something because I want to show you. It gave me this vibe. I love that video. I really don't know what to say. It's really cool, and I can't do them like that. It's way better, but it's like you gotta admit there's a little bit of that in there. Anyway, I think it's great. I don't know who made it, but whoever you are, I think it might be perfect. I don't know how else to change it that would be beneficial. It's fucking cool. Like I would kind of maybe be interested to hear it with like a beat and shit, but at the same time, that's not really what it is. And you might find yourself overproducing it and trying to turn it into some sort of EDM thing when it's its own thing. And I don't know what that thing is, but it is that thing. So thank you for sending, and I'm sorry that I don't have any constructive criticism. I was in a run making these, just went orchestral. Yeah, dude, it's fucking cool. I don't know. It's cool. I love it. Oh, in a rut. Okay. Well, whatever you did, I would like, this is perfect soundtrack material. It sounds perfect, like I said, for like a cult scene where somebody's getting sacrificed. That's basically all I have to say. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Thank you for sending. All right, let's check out Cat Attack Weird in a Good Way. I think I might have... Wait, hold on a sec. I think I might have a project. It's like fucked, but not in a good way. Or fuck. I think, but. Oh, fucked, but not in a good way. Yeah. From 2020, I have a project called Fucked, but not in a good way. Okay, anyway, let's go. I wonder what this is going to be. Words or spectrum?
Song structure is for nerds.
Okay. Okay, so this is really good. This is very much I like hearing the progression of the cat attack because I think for a long time a lot of the tracks that you've sent in are basically ambient pieces, which are fine. Like that's its own genre and that's great. I like to hear that in the context of like a cool beat. And that's what this is. I do kind of agree that maybe the gated effect or whatever that is maybe you're leaning on it a little too much. It didn't bother me as much as somebody else in the chat. But yeah, maybe it's a bit too much. One thing I did think of was when it got here. I don't know, I kind of wanted it to kick back into the beat or something. It's not necessary, and the arrangement you have works, but I kind of like almost heard it sound like it was almost like a fake out fake out breakdown. That's what it sounded like to me. Like I felt it would be cool to almost sounds like it's going to go all ambient and then it goes rip and then it goes back into the beat or something. But it's really good. I think, you know, it could be mastered a little bit more because you're giving up this headroom for no real reason. It's not really bothering me. It's just kind of like you got free loudness here. I think I like the rancid clap. I think it could have a snare layered with it because let's see if you have, what's the tempo? Somebody being cat, tell me what the tempo is, or I'll just figure it out. What's this? 149, 150. It's a fractionary tempo. Fuck you. I have no idea. Okay, Spoon. Okay, well, I was going to layer a snare there, but I don't know what the tempo is. So I'll try to layer a single snare on a single clap and see what it sounds like. And you know what? Just because we can, let's go to our always reliable baby making snare, which is in this and this and this. Okay. Turn off the metronome. Yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay. No, you know what? Let's do 4. We'll do 4. Oh, check this out. This is a fucking technique right here. Delete that one and then grab these two and then move it over here. Look at that. Look at the skill. Wait. Yeah, I think it worked. Okay. You know what I mean? Like it anchors us. We need something to anchor us in the chaos that's happening. There's chaos, rhythmic chaos, which is great. It's interesting and it gives us lots of stuff to digest and hear and understand and latch onto, but we need something to anchor us in the tempo. The kick is kind of going do, 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 like it's doing all kinds of things. Oh, that part's even better with the snare. Man, it needs a pokey snare. Oh, it's so good. Wait. Oh! Oh, hold on. This is the way. Oh, this is tasty. That was a bit overdone, but. Anyway, that's my only real feedback is it needs a snare that sounds like this. Especially right here. I could listen to this all day. It's so good. I'm just gonna, you know what? Let me do this. Windows shell menu. What am I trying to do? Copy. Can I just, no, that won't work. Hold on. We're gonna go here. We're gonna go drum samples. Might as well just do this here. Drum samples, snares, F, fat snares, baby making. Then I'm gonna come over to Discord and scroll down. Where is cat? I'm gonna drag this and I'm gonna hit enter. There. Okay, we did it. You now have that snare. I can drag. Yeah, can I drag? Oh my god, I can. I didn't know that. That's cool. I didn't know I could drag it right from the browser into like Windows. That's neat. Anyway, those are my thoughts, and I'm just gonna listen to that one more time because I like it so much. Ah, so good. Okay, cool. You get my idea. Great job. Sounds dope as always. Thank you for sending. Let's move on. Music. Slumber in the Storm. All right. Before we listen, let me make sure that I have the mastering off. I think I just have the limit. Where the fuck is Ozone? Okay, where did Ozone go? I feel like I've done this before. I've somehow hidden Ozone somewhere. Does anybody see it pop up when I click it? Oh no. I'm just going to delete it. There. Now it's gone. Ah, I did the thing again. Okay, let's have a listen. I mean, this kind of goes hard. Like, it's so dry and like Samsung alarm type beat for sure, but it kind of goes hard in a cheeky way. The thing that I think is kind of being lost is the kick drum is too much of like a techno kick drum. It's so long, and then you have this sub like 808 sub bass thing, but you have this long kick and they're like interacting and blah. You need to have like a trap style kick instead. This is some medieval trap shit. This is like fucking, I could picture like a bunch of like knights at a club all decked out in their like armor and they're all like dancing around with ale or whatever they called beer back then. What did you send, Raham? If I click that, you know my camera's gonna freeze. That's just how it works. What do I have for feedback for this? I think first of all, get a better kick drum, a shorter, punchier kick drum so that the 808 can be uninterrupted by the tail of the kick. Oh, okay. And that's going to make your bottom end a lot less rumbly and out of control, because what we're hearing is we're hearing that long kick interact with the and phase with the sub bass or the 808. So we have this like long tail and it's playing a certain frequency, and then we have the 808 that's could or could not be playing, or may not be playing the same frequency, and they do weird rumbly things. So if you have a shorter, just a little go go, like a short trappy kick instead of that techno-y kick, then that 808, the bottom end's going to be a lot more solid. And I kind of respect the choice of like total dryness. There's absolutely zero reverb in this, but at the same time, it kind of lacks dimension. And then we have these like that kind of sounds like it has reverb in the sound itself, but it's totally mono. So it kind of sounds a little like weird. Oh, this is totally Age of Empires. Age of Empires 3. That's what this sounds like. You should embrace it and do the wololo, oyo, doyo. Whatever there's like a priest sound like. Yololo, wololo, oyo, yo, yo, wololo. It's an Age of Empires thing. That would be fucking dope. If I heard that in this track right now, if you already put that in, I would fucking lose my shit. Rave of Empires, I like that. Yeah, you can really feel that bass interact with each other. The kick and the 808 is like, whoa, whoa, it's like rumbly. So yeah, I would also go get some better drum sounds. You know, these are very kind of dry drum machine stock kind of drums, and they have their place, but having more variety in your drum samples, having a bigger sample base to draw on is going to help a lot. I kind of love this for what it is. It sounds like Age of Empires. It brings me back to high school playing Age of Empires on like Windows 98 or XP or something, and I like that about it. In terms of production, keep going. Get some better drum sounds. Maybe find some cool loops to cut up and add a little bit more. Add a bit more dimension and depth, maybe some reverb a little bit here and there, and just more layers. But you have the basis of a cool medieval trap beat here. So good job on that. Okay, let's move on. We got Vivo. Am I Skrillex yet? And it's very short. Here we go. Wow, that was cool. That was very short but very cool. I would try to just roughly push this into an arrangement. You know, even if like parts of it are just like a hi-hat loop or like a drum beat. Get this arranged out. You'll have a lot easier time turning it into something. It's very cool. It's a bit of a mess in terms of like just the mix because there's a lot of stuff going on, and I think it's going to be a bit challenging to make all those complex, kind of like the disco sample layer. It has so much stuff going on in it. Skrillex Lick It type beat. Isn't that Valentino Khan? Anyway. The other thing that I would say is that when the kick drum happens, it's very wompy. It's like womp, 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 womp. That might just be a matter of maybe shortening the kick or... I just know when the kick happens, it's very overwhelming in the sub range versus in between the kicks. So the kick might just be a little too long and too loud. Besides that, I think there's a cool groove in here. I would definitely get down to this, but it needs to be longer, obviously. So don't worry about the mix. Don't worry about mastering or production or sound design. Just kind of create a skeleton of the arrangement, something that makes sense. And then fill it in with the organs and the flesh and the skin and the clothing, like dress it up a little bit. But the first thing you do is, make a skeleton, fill it in. That is a short song, and that is my short feedback. Thank you for sending. Let's move on. Okay, we got Tesseracts, Move Your Body. Wow, that was dope. I think I only have one suggestion, and that is I feel like it's so high energy that so you have this kind of like pseudo breakdown section. Even just see how we kind of have like 1, 2, 3 sections of it? Maybe just like taking one of these sections and taking the drums out. And there's like that kind of like distorted, reverbed out vocal thing. Yeah, like give us a full-on breakdown so that you can build us back up from a further point down. Like I was saying earlier in the stream, where sometimes I'll actually draw out a graph from 0 to 10 and I'll draw it. Like we never get back down to 0. We're still kind of like, this is the breakdown, but we're kind of still at like a 6, you know? So I think even just this one section, like right here, like that kind of area, if you stripped it back down, to back down to like a 1 or a 2 and really let us hone in on that like cool distorted vocal yell thing that's in the background, and like have like cool greasy bass lines and stuff. That way when you build us back up to like this 4 to the floor drop, it's really going to hit a lot harder because we've came from a lower point. We've come from 0 as opposed from going from 6 to 10. We went from like maybe a 2 or a 3 to 10. That's a bigger jump in energy, and that'll have more impact. Besides that, it's fucking dope. Like I'm struggling to have any issues. Yeah, it's kind of weird that you like try to have issues. I'm trying to have issues with this and I'm not. Besides the fact that I felt like once, even at the start, I mean, we start at like a 3, you know, which is fine. I'm not saying that's a problem. I just, at some point in the track, I'd like to feel like we got down to breaking down and give us like a chance to breathe so that we're reinvigorated and we have lots of oxygen in our blood for when that last drop hits. Besides that, this is great. Really inspiring stuff. Like I don't listen to this style of music really ever, and I think I should listen to it more. If I had to be real picky, I found certain times I was kind of swimming in the sub a little bit. Like the sub was kind of like just whoa. And I know it's supposed to be kind of whoa, but it was almost like it was like whoa with 2 W's, and that's, you know, like you're like, why did you spell whoa with 2 W's? But that's kind of nitpicking. It's maybe even like a taste thing, but I do think that this would be stronger if you gave us a break from the drums and then hit us back in the face, just slap us right in the dick with the drums again. Okay, cool. I think that's all I have for this track because it was dope, and I don't have anything more for this track because it was dope. Let's go. Next one, we got Swiss Cheese, Embrace VIP. Okay, so right off the bat, this kick drum is very pokey. Like for the section, it's almost sounding full drop strength, but we don't really have much else going. I would bring the kick down a little bit in the intro here. Also, that one note is kind of, it might make sense like in the context of the chords, but we don't have the chords yet. I'm assuming there's chords coming up. I don't know. To me, that one note kind of sticks out as like maybe not the best choice. So I'm not sure if you're gonna have vocals in here. If there's vocals, maybe this section makes sense. The whole note piano chord thing, it's not enough to justify a full section on its own. If there were vocals going on top of it, then maybe. But the kick drum is very, especially this last one. You might have piled 2 on top of each other. Let me listen here. No, you didn't. The kick drum is just very transient-y and very kind of harsh. Like it's more aggressive than it needs to be. It's not just a volume thing. It's also just like it's also the transient is so kind of like loud versus I don't know exactly how to explain it. I would maybe try a more gentle kick drum or at least bring it down. Okay, I like these chords. The chords are nice. The melody's nice. It doesn't need to be this loud. Like this section is absolutely pegging. I would like it. This would make more sense to me if it came down like. Because you can actually hear the crispy over, like, the clipping that's happening with these chords. Yeah, the kick, I don't know, the kick drum is just, it's almost like too slappy. If I had to put a name on that or an adjective, it's too slappy. So arrangement wise, you could probably just cut out that whole section with the pianos and go right into this and make this part a little more exciting. So again, like, I think this is a common theme with the stuff you send. The music part of it is solid. Like, you definitely have a solid musicality head on your shoulders. However, I would focus more on investigating different sounds. A lot of the stuff you send is like piano and sawtooths, and that's basically what we get. We get like great sounding chords and melodies and stuff, but you're kind of limiting yourself to saw sounds and piano sounds, and that is only going to get you so far. You gotta find some more interesting sounds to use. Okay, now we have a harp. It's as if you were listening. Yeah, I agree, Doofy. It's not like, it's like really slappy, but it doesn't have a lot of balls in the bottom end. So this is cool. I like this. Now that the harp is in there, I feel like you're still pushing it. Like, we shouldn't be absolutely railing it here. It's not even the drop, it's the buildup. And we're like railing it, like, loudness wise, right? Yeah, I would say you're good at making build-ups and good at, like, kind of getting us in a trance and building us up, but it never kind of feels like it quite drops. It never kind of feels like it gets to that place that you're preparing us for. Like it almost, this whole track kind of feels like a perpetual buildup to me. And there's not one cut dry, easy way of me telling you how to avoid that. I think having a clear change that happens when the drop happens, you know, like building, maybe starting with the drop, make the drop first, and then build up to that drop. It feels like maybe you're making these build-ups and you're building up and everything's building up, and then you're like, well, I don't know where to go from here. Let's throw a kick in, you know? So maybe the idea for your next track, try making the drop section first. Just come up with an idea for the drop section and let that inform you when you're making the build up, so that you don't have this problem where you're perpetually building up and you're not quite sure where to go with it. You're almost like you're aiming the trajectory of the build, but you don't know what you're aiming at because you haven't built that yet. So next track you make, just challenge yourself and just make the drop first. And maybe that's what you do already. I kind of feel like you don't, but I could be wrong. If I'm not wrong, and that's usually what you do when you just make the build up first, then just try making the drop first and see how that treats you. But yes, strong music, musicality, the production is what needs the love, is the sound design and the production in general. Okay, thanks for sending. Cool. Let's move on. We got still not thought of a name or a song title.
Yo, get ready for the ride when no one else has been. Get ready for the ride when no one else has been. Get ready for the ride when no one else has been. Strap yourself in, strap yourself in. Get ready for the ride when no one else has been. Get ready for the ride when no one else has been. Get ready for the ride when no one else has been. Strap yourself in, strap yourself in. Get ready for the ride when no one else has been. Get ready for the ride when no one else has been. Get ready for the ride when no one else has been. Strap yourself in, strap yourself in.
Okay, this is almost like the Crystal Method meets Limp Bizkit or something. I really dig this. I think during the drops, the sub range is kind of drowning out like the guitar, whether it's a real guitar, kind of sounds like a fake guitar to me, but whatever it is. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But the sub bass is like drowning it out, I think. Let's have a listen on the Spectrum. Okay.
Ready for the ride when no one else is. Ready for the ride when no one else is.
So basically what I'm trying to do there was I was trying to bring up the guitars without bringing up that harshness. There's like this very harsh frequency in the sides with the distorted guitars that you kind of can't get away from. That's like the sound of distorted metal guitars, right? But when I was doing that, I was trying to control the dynamics, but I was losing the snap of the snare. So I think in the mix, let me just listen one more time. I would maybe dip like that, you know, like 2 to 5 or 3 to 5 kilohertz. I'd maybe dip that out on the guitars a little bit. I don't know. It's so close. Like, it sounds dope. There's just a small tweak that could happen in the mix, I think. Maybe maybe straight up listen to some Limp Bizkit and try to pull some inspiration from that mixing technique, because I feel like this or like Slipknot, maybe a little bit of Slipknot. Yeah, it's like electronic versions of like Slipknot or Limp Bizkit, like the guitar tone specifically. So maybe try to pull some inspiration from that. Korn. Okay, yeah.
Ready for the ride when no one else has been. Strap yourself in, strap yourself in. Ready for the ride when no one else has been. Ready for the ride when no one else has been. Ready for the ride when no one else has been. Strap yourself in, strap yourself in.
Okay, this part is sick, but the little choppy guitar thing here, I don't know. I think that it bothered me in the first time and it bothered me the second time too. Because it really drives home, like, it sounds like a MIDI guitar. I think when you go da-da-da-da, it kind of sounds cheap versus the rest of this section, which doesn't sound cheap. So you could maybe achieve that same kind of 16th note stuttering thing, but do it differently, because the chopping on the guitar thing, it just, yeah, it sounds cheap. Okay, let's see what this is.
I don't let strangers pummel it at all. That's absolutely ridiculous. Everybody that I've ever slept with, I've been related to.
What the fuck did she...
Everybody that I've ever slept with, I've been related to.
That is so fucked up. What the hell? Yeah, I think all this needs is a bit better of a mix on those guitars so that it's not quite, like Raham said, a wall of noise almost. Like, wall of guitar, yes. Wall of white noise, no. So a little tweak there, but it's really good. Like, it really brings me back to my high school days in a good way. So thank you for that. Okay, cool. That was dope. Now we've got Reg Send Street Performers. Wait, is this the same guy that made me question my sexuality the last stream? So this is delicious. There is, however, some weird something going on in the low mids. It's like, is it the bass? I think what it is the guitar and the bass are both adding up in this like low mid range, like where you have the cutoff on the bass or where the bass rolls off, and like the darkness of the jazzy guitar. There's this add up of energy in this kind of range here. Like right there. What I would do is I would play the bass and the guitar together, solo just the bass and the guitar, and I would fuck with this, dipping those frequencies out. I would probably just pull it out of the guitar. I'm sure if you did a dip like something like this on the guitar, it would solve the problem. And maybe boost up some more presence in the guitar. Providing the guitars are on the side and the bass is in the center shouldn't really have this problem, right? No, not necessarily. I mean, like, yes, they're in their own spot, but if they're both contributing a lot to that frequency range, then that's still going to add up together, right? Because actually, there's only one guitar part which isn't on the side. So, hey, maybe that would help if there were two guitar parts and they were panned. But even still, the whole mix, yes, there are different places in the mix, but you have to take the whole mix into consideration when you're adding these frequencies up. So I still think the guitar and the bass are doing a thing down in this area that's adding up. And I noticed it as soon as it... And like, I can't tell if that's an electric piano or just a strum guitar. I don't know. I thought it was an electric piano too, but I can't say for sure. If it's an electric piano, it's doing exactly the same thing as the guitar is doing, and that's why I can't tell what is what, because they're playing the same chords and they kind of sound the same. I think it's just the guitar. Yeah, totally. Like this is super nice. It's just there you got a pile up down in the low mids. It's super nice though. I honestly think with like a 5-minute mix adjustment, this would be dope. And then probably turn it into a full song. Well, I don't know. It's almost 2 minutes long. I guess that's for like lo-fi. That's basically what you want, right? Yeah, those are my thoughts. Try to sort out the low mids and then make $1 million somehow. Okay, next we got Overdose, Heaven Break, Fallen Kingdom. Okay, so my thoughts are as follows. Very cool and cinematic. I think the pacing is pretty good. I don't think it could maybe move a little bit quicker, but the first thought I had for criticism is that this right here is almost too loud. Like, we're kind of still in a melodic section. It doesn't need to be full strength loudness, and I can kind of hear like the limiter doing work, you know, because we've got kind of this like Reese thing, and then we got the big drums, and it all kind of gets squashed unnecessarily, as though it was like you're trying to squeeze every ounce of loudness out of it, which is unnecessary at this point. So your build up here could be a little bit more dynamic and really lean into like the cinematic feel of it. That was my first thought. Now the Michael Bay fucking chords are real loud, like too loud. Like they sound like they're here, and the kick and snare sound like they're here when they should kind of be around the same area. So I would pull down the that. And there's also like this cool like the TikTok like Joe Rogan clip music. That's really nice, but it's so buried underneath that big wall of sound that I can't really enjoy it. I also think the side chaining is a bit intense, and I would be careful to overuse that stuff. That, you know, that's kind of like, it's borderline gimmicky when you do like low pass fades like that. I think you can use it to good effect every once in a while, but I don't think I think you might be overusing it a little bit too much. And I know you only maybe did that one. Hold on. Used it there. There as well. And the starts. I honestly, if you just brought those those things, if they came down and I could really get more into the other parts of the track, I think that's going to be the biggest improvement. I think the drums might be going a little hard during this section. Yeah, so I guess what I have to say in summation is the drops are like my least favorite part of this track, because when I hear the drop, all I'm really hearing is that really loud sound. The rest of the track is all very nice and intricate, and there's like cool layers and melodies and emotion. But when that drop hits, it sounds like you're just demonstrating this sound that you've come up with or made or whatever, right? So I think focusing on getting that drop to have a bit more depth to it and not just rah, that is the way to go. But yeah, super cool. Again, it's kind of a little bit medieval. Feels a little medieval. It's kind of a medieval themed stream, isn't it? Thanks for sending. That was dope. All right, we got the last one for this week. No name today. Yo, Chopando Tristi Demo. Okay. What does this remind me of? A stingray, maybe? If it was like this, does that kind of look like a stingray? I don't know. What the fuck? It reminds me of something. I can't quite figure it out. I'm not sure. Anyway, let's listen. Oh, also, before we finish off this last one, if you want to take part in these streams, they happen every Friday, even though I'm pretty sure that everybody here is a regular right now. But if you're not a regular, if you're new, then here's the link. Go there, and then you can submit your tracks, and we'll listen to them and hopefully help in some way. Okay, let's listen to it. Okay, this is really cool, but believe me, you need to change this bass note. You need to go, here we go with the 3 oscillator. Hold on. So okay, you're just playing a G the whole time, but you need to go from B to G. So let me demonstrate. I'm going to high pass your whole track. We're going to lose the kick. Who cares? And then now I'm going to play those 2 notes instead of the 1. So I'm going to go. Okay. So let's back it up. Anyway, that's my idea. It sounds like shit when I'm doing it the way I'm doing it, what I had to do to get to superimpose my bass in there. But I really think that's going to be the way to go, is to go between those 2 notes. Yeah, it might not be the B. Hold on. Maybe D. Maybe F. You're right. I probably wasn't playing the right note, but it needs to go between 2 notes. It feels like the track wants to go. know? I don't know. Yeah, okay, I'm hearing the D in that top end. Yeah, this track is dope. It's just that sub sticking at the same note feels droney to me. Like, it feels wrong. Oh, it did it. It went to the note. That. Sorry, it's an A sharp, not a B. That's what it needs to go between, the A sharp and the B. So let's go back here and try the A sharp. Okay, yeah, that's the shit that I'm looking for. Thank you, Raham, for calling me out on playing the wrong note. Oh my god, this suddenly reminds me of Royksop, maybe? Royce, is it? No. Boards of Canada. That's what this reminds me of. Boards of Canada. I think there's a track called Caravan or something like that. Anyway. Same style. But, man, this is so good. Just please give us different notes in here. Like that would be a dope bass line, obviously down an octave or whatever, but yeah, this is super sick. Check out Boards of Canada too. If you're probably already a fan if you're making this stuff, because it's in the same ballpark as that. It's super dope. This is really cool, and I would love to hear it with like a slightly different bass line like what I was trying to demonstrate. All right, that's it for this week. Thanks everybody for hanging out with me to the end, and I love you very much. I hope you have a good weekend. I would like to take this chance. This is the wrong screen. Sorry, this is me. Take this chance to remind you that I still have some of these Cursed Fowler art books available. You can check them out on my website, fowlermusic.com. And if you buy one, I will sign it, and I will include a few other little goodies and ship it to you from my place. It's fucked up, and it is an accurate representation of who I am. All right. Have a good weekend. I love you.